To truly understand diffusion language models, we actually really need to understand how autoregressive models, or I may also call this traditional language models, we really need to understand how traditional language models are built from scratch. It turns out that for diffusion language models, their architecture is 80% similar to traditional language models with the addition of these three concepts. So you can think of a diffusion language model as these key characteristics plus 80% of ARM, which is autoregressive model architecture. So to understand diffusion language models from scratch, we really need to do a deep dive into autoregressive models. And when I say deep dive, it's going to be a really deep dive where I'm going to explain the whole architecture right from the matrix dimension of every small aspect like the feed forward neural network block here, etc. So this is going to be a very long section, and if you're already aware of the architecture of traditional language models, I would encourage you to maybe skip this part or watch it in a quick way, and you can directly move to the next part. Okay, so let's start with this, and to understand this I'm going to explain how a traditional language model is built from scratch, and then we'll use the same learnings to understand how diffusion language models are built. So let's motivate the example a bit. We are going to take this TinyStories data set today. This is going to be the same data set on which we are going to build our language diffusion model. This data set essentially consists of around 2 million stories, which are such that 3 to 4 year old kids can understand them. Okay, so if you take a look at one story, it can be something like this. One day, a little girl named Lily found a needle in her room. She knew it was difficult to play with it because it was sharp, etc. etc. This is one story, and there are 2 million such stories, right? So let's start with this data set. That's the first part of building a traditional language model, or building any, even a diffusion language model for that matter. Once we have this data set, my goal is that I want to learn patterns from this data so that I can predict or I can generate language. And what does it mean? So the goal is to learn learn patterns from my data and predict language and predict meaningful language. What does this mean, predict meaningful language? It means that if I train a model which has learned patterns from this data, and if I give the model some sequence of sentences like once upon a time, if I feed this input sequence to the model will generate a coherent story based on what it has learned. And remember, it's called generative AI because the beauty of it is that this story will not be present in the data set. The model is learning patterns from the data and it's generating new stuff, new stories on its own. That's what I want to do. And what does it mean, learn patterns from the data? Well, the model needs to understand about the English language, right? It does not know anything about language. So how will it generate meaningful sentences, generate coherent stories if it does not understand language? And what is language? Language can be split into two parts, right? There is grammar, which is the form of a language. The model needs to understand the correct grammar or the correct construction of sentences. For example, English language has Mary kicked the ball, which is essentially a subject, verb, and an object, right? And there is also meaning. So the model should understand form, which means that it should not mess up this order. It should not say Mary ball the kicked. That means it has not understood the correct grammatical constructions. And the model should also give sentences which have meaning. So for example, let's say I have a sentence such as blue electrons eat fish. Now this sentence does not make sense. Although its form is correct, its meaning is not correct. So I want my language model to learn the form as well as the meaning from the underlying data. This looks like such a difficult problem, right? Imagine what we are doing. We are giving a data to a model which knows nothing, and we are asking the model to learn about language, and not just that, we are asking the model to generate stories out of it. That's the task which we start out with. Okay. Now let me drink a cup of coffee. Yeah. So how do we get started with this task? The first step is to look at our data itself. So let's actually take this story and let's see what's actually done with this story. So I have my story over here right now, which is my input data. Okay. And there are 2 million such stories like this. If I want to make a machine learning model, I need to have inputs and I need to have outputs, right? So I need to generate input output pairs from this data. So let's write this down. The task is to generate input output pairs from this data. And how do we do this? Well, we first split the data into parts to create small input chunks that is decided by something which is called as the context size. It defines how many tokens or how many words the model can pay attention to at one time. So let's say my context size is 4. So I divide my data set into blocks of 4. Let's say these are the blocks of 4 which I've divided my data set into. Okay, so I divide my entire data set into these chunks. So these are my input sequences. This is so every green box is my input sequence, and I have multiple such input sequences. That's fine. The real understanding here is how do we construct the output sequence from the input sequence. The way we construct the output sequence from the input sequence is we take the input sequence and we shift it to the right hand side by 1. So if this is my first input sequence, right, I shift it to the right hand side by 1. If this is my second input sequence, I shift it to the right hand side by 1. So you see my first input sequence is one day a little. So let's say my first input sequence is one day a little, and my first output sequence is day a little and girl. So this is my input sequence 1 and this is my output sequence 1. Now pay very careful attention here, right? Uh, when we train the model, what we are going to tell the model is that although this looks like one input sequence and one output sequence, it consists of four input output prediction tasks. What are these four? I want the model to learn that given any token, it has to predict the next token. So if one, so I take my first input here. If one is the input, I want day to be the output. Then if one day is the input, I want a to be the output. If one day a is the input, I want little to be the output. And if one day a little is the input, I want girl to be the output. You see what's going on here? We have four input and target or input output prediction tasks here. If one is the input, day will be the output. If one day is the input, a will be the output. If one day is a is the input, little will be the output. And if one day a little is the input, girl will be the output. Right? So at every token, we are just predicting the next token here. And not just that, the earlier predicted tokens are added to the input sequence for the next prediction. That's why this is called as an auto-regressive. It is called as auto-regressive model because it's one new token generated at each time, and the previous generated token is appended to the past input to predict the next token. So this is how input and target pairs are constructed. And one input target pair has multiple data prediction tasks or multiple target prediction tasks. And that's where the term autoregressive actually comes into the picture, right? So imagine the huge data set which we had, 2 million rows. That's coupled into, in let's say, input sequence 1, input sequence 2, and let's say input sequence 100,000. We have output sequence 1, output sequence 2, and output sequence 100,000. And remember, the output sequence is just the input sequence shifted to the right hand side by 1. That's why it's called as an autoregressive model. Now the way language models work is that these are grouped into batches. So this is batch 1, this is batch 2, etc. And I have each batch is passed through this language model, and I have my prediction. It is compared with the true answer. The true answer is given by these output sequences, and based on the prediction and the true answer, I have my loss function, right? Once I have my loss function, I find the gradient of the loss function with respect to all the parameters of this language model, and then I update the parameters, right? This, what I'm showing right now on the screen, is for one batch. This is for one batch. So let's put a rectangle around it. This is for one batch. This same loop continues for multiple batches until I go through my entire data set. Once I go through my entire data set, that's going through one epoch. Typically, language model training can just be done in 2 to 3 epochs since my data set is so huge. So I go through my first batch, I get my loss, I update my parameters. Then what I'll do is that I go through my second batch, I get the loss, I update the parameters. Then I go through my third batch, I get the loss, I update the parameters, and then that's how I train my language model. Okay. Now you might be thinking that how do I essentially, what does it mean passing a batch into this language model? So for that, you first need to understand uh, how tokens are converted into numbers, and then you need to understand about the language model architecture itself. So let's learn about that next.